Welcome to another episode of the Lookout Podcast. My guest today is Ken Goodian. Right?
Correct. Yep.
Oh, man. Yeah, I butchered it before, man. Apologies.
Oh, no worries.
But thanks for meeting, man. Meeting Lolo kind of, late at night, and I was late, so apologies to you for that one, man.
Yeah,
too.
no, this worked out good for me, too. We got families, and this is kind of the witching hour for us, right?
Yeah, it truly is, man. That's a good point. Yeah, and then the cows, too, and the eclipse. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just an odd day, I guess.
Just everybody. I went and saw my wife at St. Pat's today, and it was just crazy. Like, it's the most people she's ever seen, and I was just like, holy cow, is this the eclipse?
Yeah,
because it was like right when the eclipse was happening. I'm like, is this eclipse or is this just busy?
Getting that eclipse energy going or something, man. I know. I was like, I did a little video, which I forgot to put on Instagram, but getting back into working out. I was sick for a little while, and then with the kiddo and stuff. So finally get back into it after a couple months off. So I was like, struggle in the gym and got that eclipse energy,
For sure.
I don't know if I really had any, but I was in there doing it.
Yeah.
But you're a Missoula Firefighter, right?
Correct. Yep.
And how long you been fighting fire?
About 22 years here for the city. Yeah.
Dang, Ken. I had no idea, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And I guess a little background, we met at the Fire and Ice charity hockey tournament, which is kind of more of just like a JV and varsity game, not so much a tournament anymore, but
yeah,
it used to
that's
be
what
right.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much fun, though.
Oh, it's awesome, man. What a cool gathering of folks,
Yeah.
So many like-minded people, I guess, that are going, that are,
That's
outdoorsy
crazy
fire
that
folks.
like $19,000 in a night.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? The
Crazy.
first one was outdoors. It was more of a bet. And it was
Really?
like the losers were going to pay like a $250 bet.
Oh, no way.
And it just kind of morphed into something like kind of crazy. The second year they did it and, I don't know, maybe 800 people showed up and we were like, whoa. And Chris Kovac, and I'm sure everybody knows Chris.
Yeah, shout out to
down
Chris.
in Florence, yeah. And he's a city firefighter, but I mean, he just has crushed it. I mean, we do so much, and that all that money, half of it goes to the Forest Service team or Wildlanders, and I think they put most of their money towards the Wildland
Firefighter Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a little sticker up here.
Yeah. And so, but we take our half and we put it to what we call the MFBF, which is the Missoula Firefighters Benevolent Fund. And that money, like initially that was like our disability retirement, because we had a guy, like our fire station was down there. Do you know where like McDonald Lindosopolis is? It's kind of like across the street from PIG downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there, like on between Front and Main, and then Ryman runs right there. Anyways, that used to be our fire station right there back until like the probably 50s.
Really? Yeah.
It was like 3 stories tall, and a guy was hanging out the window because there was like the top of the Howard's apartments, which is still there.
Yeah.
That was like a cat house, and apparently there was some weird shit going on across the street, but he looked out the window and he fell out.
Oh, no.
And broke his pelvis, fell 3 floors.
Oh,
and so, everybody was like chipping in a little bit of their money because they only made, I think, like $16 a month. So they were like giving like a quarter a week or something for this guy because he couldn't work.
Yeah.
And so they started this MFBF kind of as like a disability fund.
Oh, cool.
And so everybody chip into that, and that's how they did it. And then eventually, like in the 80s, they went to PERS, like we got our retirement and everything. And so, they added on a piece onto your homeowner's insurance. And so you pay like a little tax, and that's what like funds our disability now and everything.
Yeah, I was kind of curious because, like being the wildland side, I know, where we're putting it and stuff and where it goes. But like when I saw on the poster what you guys were going for, I didn't know anything about that fund. And I meant to ask one of your guys last year, maybe I was going to bug you actually, or this year. And, but my kid had just been born. So like I came in almost late for the game, and played and then left as soon as I was done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, the MFBF's really cool. It's basically our it's our association, and it's separate from our union. I think the chiefs still pay into it, and they buy like coffee and Tang and like ketchup and everything for our fire stations.
Oh, nice.
Which is like all this stuff. But the big thing they do is we have like a big our firefighters are like so involved in the community. Like this is how we like do all of our stuff. So we did like a bridge for Jack, like up Petty Canyon. And I mean,
I saw that.
It ended up being like $70,000. It was just incredible that they were able to raise all that money to put this, like rebuild this bridge.
The bridge looked amazing too.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was awesome. And like we do like a vet ski retreat, and they take, I can't remember what they call it. there's like the firefighters will take some kids they're good kids. They just maybe are like less fortunate or whatever, but they'll never get like a chance to go to like Silverwood. So they take them to Silverwood and just have like a great day. They take a bus, like feed them. You get whatever you want. Like just give them that like great thing. And then we do Fired Up for Kids, and I think that's with the Washington Foundation. So we make sure every kid in town that needs a Coke gets one.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
man.
and it's like most of the guys. I think it's like 80 or 90% of the firefighters, like we can donate money into that. And so we do. Yeah. And then, it's obviously the Fire on Ice is a huge fundraiser for it. And it's just a great, like, there's just some people in our department that are just like so like into that and so like passionate about it. And so it's like really cool to like work with these guys. And, everybody's got their little niche of what they do. And like these guys like really like to go out and do that stuff. And, they have, like, so it's awesome.
It's so awesome, man. And then like the history of firefighting, especially like, city firefighting is community, saving the community, being there for your people and risking, and helping out, like even the old story of just like getting the cat out of the tree for the old lady. It's just being that public servant and helping out, man. And because you guys can, and it's very cool, dude. That has its roots too, like,
and I think everybody like really like enjoys that like part of it. I think that's why we all become like firefighters for one way or the other.
I was gonna ask you, man.
Yeah. And so I don't know. It's just such a good group. And I know there's like some shitbags out there that, like ruin it for everybody.
And everything.
But you get that everywhere. But I mean, it's so good. Like if you like kind of like filter out the, 1% of those guys that make your life hell. I mean, the other like 99% of guys that are doing this and gals are just, they're so awesome and so interesting.
Yeah.
And, we're so different. And just being able to like embrace that and like see that. I mean, like, my 22 years, I grew up in East Helena, pretty narrow window of, extremely white people, and so like just being able to like, kind of see the world through a different lens, being here in Missoula and just traveling around the United States doing wildland stuff. It's been awesome.
Oh, so cool, man. And
great people,
Yeah, totally. And that's a good kind of summary of like, especially how Montana was when we were growing up. Like, I'm from Whitehall, so just south of you and where you were in Helena. Same deal, like mostly just like white ranchers and stuff. And then you go to Missoula and it's like kind of more melting pot, like mixed cultures and a cool, like when I first saw like, keep Missoula weird sticker, I was like, I like that. I didn't really know about Missoula, but I was like, I like that. And it is cool because everyone's got their own thing going on, and that's what makes it such a cool community.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just, a lot of the other towns, they're great, and I mean, maybe they work for other people, but I like my little weird community.
Same.
It's great.
Yeah, because especially in Montana, it's so easy to kind of go to all the big towns. I went to school in Billings. I went to school in Bozeman for a minute. I actually went to school in Missoula for a bit. I kind of did the circuit of college. Yeah. But, I mean, like, Missoula is definitely the one that I like the most. Like, I was a Missoula smoke jumper for a while, and so, like, not as much community as a Missoula firefighter because you're just mostly just going on wildland fires. You're not really, and you're even out of town. The AFD's, like, at the airport, so you're not really involved in the community, but with these events like Fire and Ice, though, you get to be a part of the community. Man, you can really feel it.
And I think we've hired like a bunch of the like smoke jumpers and stuff, and so it's been great. And all those guys are like such good dudes, and I mean, you can just tell. I mean, even they kind of get separated and everything, but I mean, just such good people. They always help out, and just great, just a great community here in Missoula with our firefighters, and and hockey's just like one arm of that. And
a chance for all of us to get together and hang. Because like you said, once in a while we get to meet up on fires, like a lot of times you guys get stuck on Structure Pro, which is what you guys know. So it's really helpful for us wildland folks, but then you guys are more doing the community protection, and then we're out in the woods more. So it's like we don't get to like cross-pollinate as much. So like going to Fire and Ice is kind of cool because we like to hang for an evening,
Yeah, and it's always good because we'll run into you guys like, infrequently, and it's just kind of good to throw some shit your guys' way. It's just the same way, fun, it's awesome.
It is, man. Yeah, I think there was like was it 18 or, I mean, probably every few years, maybe it was 17, there was some piles burning up in Rattlesnake area, and they kept relighting. And I was working as a detail for the Missoula Ranger District, just at the fort there, and I remember, like, I felt bad for you guys because, like, it was, like, every other night, another pile would just decide to, like, get some more life. And it wasn't going anywhere. Like, it was snowing and stuff. But, like, enough for the community to be concerned, which I get it, especially where we live. So, like, you guys would respond, and be hanging out like, oh, sorry guys, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't mean to pull you guys out on this one.
Yeah. And I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah.
And it's good. I mean, we know that that's not happening, and that's just such a great recreation area. I mean, it's so worth it.
That's the thing. Like when we first came up, like all the lights on your guys' big truck was off, or was going on, or were on, so you could see really good, and then you can see like a little bit of glowing in the. It was just, in the woods there, and it's in the fall, so it's like got smell of the fall with the smoke, man, and just like very cool scene. I wish I could have captured a picture with you guys' big engine out there, man.
Nice. What's your favorite? Like, have you ever had like a great Montana moment?
Oh man,
I had like a really cool one this fall.
Like right now, I mean, this is gonna sound kind of cheesy, but it's like super cool because I'm talking to a Missoula Firefighter. I got what kind of looks like Lolo Peak. I know it's not quite Lolo Peak in the background, and the sunset, dude. This is pretty special for me because being Montana and you're Montana and having this podcast. But it's really hard to sum up because it feels like we get chances to have those moments every season. But what do you got one?
Yeah, I just I randomly met this guy. Well, one of the city firefighters owned a bar out in Drummond, and he recently sold it. But we were out there, and he knows some guys, and there's like this wealthy guy that, and I'm not sure exactly what he did for Microsoft, but he was like, way up there.
Yeah,
and it was just kind of crazy because I was sitting there at a table, and there was like this other city fireman, myself, some other people, and the one guy was like I think he was like a retired major, and he went to West Point, and just a really cool guy. And then there's like this really rich guy, and then like one of the horse soldiers is there,
way.
Yeah. And so it's like, and then another one of our friends that played rugby, and we're just all sitting there like having beer, and I'm like, this is like super crazy.
Yeah, it's like a modern Charlie Russell scene.
Yeah, you're just like, what is going on here? But yeah, it was just like so surreal that could happen. Like that would have never like crossed my mind.
Yeah, and just for a random moment, man, those are the best, especially like in small little Drummond, Montana.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, it's so cool, man. And those moments too, where you get to meet people like that who we all got drawn to the state for some reason, our ancestors or whoever, like, and then it almost kind of like comes together in that nice like mix right there. Like, oh yeah, these are all these people that are kind of enjoy the same things I do. You know?
Oh, for sure. And we're so fortunate to get out there in the woods. I mean, and there's just some like shit that like you're just like, everybody needs to see this. And I always thought that was like really interesting. Have you read that book? Is it The Big Burn?
Oh no, I got it on my shelf, but I haven't got
Timothy Egan. Yeah, it's such a great. But he talks in there about like Teddy Roosevelt. And Roosevelt said, like everybody should have to go ride their horse, basically up to Lookout Pass.
Oh, really?
In the United States. Yeah, he like named off three things. One was like the Petrovide Forest in Arizona and Yellowstone, and then that. Oh man. And that's why the first national forest happened right here.
Yeah.
So it's just cool. It's interesting.
It is interesting, man. God, I've been recommending. You're like the third, probably fourth person, like just in the last few months. That's like, you got to read it, and then I got it, and then I'm a part of this book club, so I'm trying to like get through it in between different books. But man, Teddy Roosevelt, thank God for that guy, because
dude, he's so awesome.
Yeah, public lands would be huge, because otherwise, I mean, the access for us blue collar folks would be damn near impossible.
Well, they'd have cut the forest down to nothing.
They would have, 100%, man.
You get up there by Thompson Falls where they had stake claims and stuff, and I mean, there's not a tree there that's over 80 years old.
Yeah, right.
It's scary.
Yeah, I had to do some surveys up Highway 12 actually of that old Plum Creek logging country, and when they knew they were pulling out and things, I think timber prices were dropping or maybe restrictions were going up. Either way, like they were going to be out of business, so they started slicking things off, and it's not as bad. It's more like pockets, but still like rough, man. You get on this like knob and you look around, and there's like one little scabby tree left because like by their contract, if they left like a couple leaf trees, so like usually it's supposed to be a nice older tree, to help the genetics, and it'd be like a couple scabby trees here and there, and it's like, man,
so sad.
It's so sad. It's so ugly.
Yeah. It'll come back though.
It will. That's the nice thing about it. And man, but it's rough to see. Even like out by Avery Country, it's not a big logging country. It fought some fire out that way. Kind of same deal. You're like, man, this would be really pretty if there were some trees. But I also want to talk to you too about like response stuff, because I know me and you talked on the Fire and Ice about upcoming levy, and then man, sure enough, like you were telling me about like the numbers are down for the amount of calls you guys are receiving, and I mean it was like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago on Instagram I saw your guys' page and it said all resources from the Missoula Fire Department are on calls.
Yeah, and
It's
I mean,
man.
that was just one day.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. It happens multiple times a week. I mean, like, it happened on my last shift.
Oh, really?
We just had, everybody was committed. And sometimes it's for a minute or two, and, like, sometimes it's for a half an hour.
Yeah.
And it gets scary, for our safety, because, if we've only got one or two engines and, like, something happens, it really makes our job difficult, because we're trying to, like, make sure we have, like, somebody that can come get us, or, like on a CPR call. I mean, like, we are so dialed in. Our CPR stats are like, we are like the top in the country.
Oh, awesome.
I can't remember what the name of that, like, whoever studies that, but we are like top notch. Like, they come study our system,
really,
because our saves are like, I mean, it's like 100 times the national average,
dude.
And a guy who is our EMS coordinator named Ron Burnell, and he's a captain with the fire department, and he when he was the EMS coordinator, he went over to Spokane, and they were doing this like pit crew CPR.
Oh.
And so we started sending some more people and like getting positions and everything, and it really like changed how we were doing. And I'd probably had like 15 years in, and maybe like once or twice I was like saved somebody, like, over 15 years.
Yeah.
And like overnight it was like once a month.
Whoa, that's big, dude.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And so it was like kind of crazy. Like, now you're like really like expecting somebody to survive, if they've like haven't been down for, hours or whatever. But I mean, if somebody saw it, we have a pretty damn good chance of saving them.
That's awesome, man. Got to make the Missoula community feel good having that kind of numbers, man.
And I mean, our paramedics are they're so good. They're so dialed. We have such a good like EMS division. There's a guy, he's like the head of the EMS division now, and his name's Dave Smith, and he does such a great job of just like getting those guys trained up, and they're just so dialed. And then the city, like 4 years ago, started sending our firefighters through paramedic school. And I think we've had like 12 people go through that program, and like now are certified paramedics, and then I think we have 2 in there right now. And so they go, and it's like a associate's degree they have to go through.
Yeah, it's brutal, dude.
Yeah. And so they do that, and I mean, they've got kids and all sorts of crap going on, and then plus you got to keep working full time.
Yeah. You don't get time off.
It's amazing. I'm too old. I'm out. But.
Yeah. One of my best friends, he's a paramedic on the Billings Fire Department. I remember when he was going through it, and I remember like looking at I want to say, because it's not the same book, right? For your basic EMT, like your basic is pretty thick, and then you got like your paramedic or something.
Yeah, no, it's like 3 of them.
That's what I thought.
Plus, there's like the ATLS, PTLS. I mean, there is all sorts of like other books that go along with it.
Yeah, because you get in more of the drugs and all that stuff.
There's probably a whole another book on drugs.
Yeah, because like with us, being I don't know, are you a basic EMT? Yeah. I guess mine expired, but like it was. I remember it was kind of frustrating because like I learned about all this stuff really in depth, but then can't really do much about it being a basic. It's like, oh man. But like you said though, the save rate when I went through basic EMT was not great, and that's when they were talking about like that power compression thing, like the power board or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, like
it's got, like the strap on it, and it like
we call it the geezer squeezer, but yeah, I think it's Lucas.
Lucas, yeah. My name's Lucas. I just know that. Yeah. But yeah, like because they were talking about like they were pushing for all the fire departments in Montana and even the wildland trucks to carry something like that because of how effective it was, because they were saying like people get tired and they don't hit the depth, in the compressions, right?
Yeah, it does pretty good. Like we put it on like after if we get ROSC, which is like we get a pulse back or a palpable rhythm, we'll put that on them. But we'll do it by hand just because you don't want to stop. Because it does take a little bit of time to put it on. But once we get a pulse back, we'll put that on. And then that's how we like transport them. And we'll just start that thing on the way to the hospital if they go back out. So
that sounds like a good routine.
It's pretty effective. Yeah, it's we just get the one downside to it is like if somebody's like too small or too big, like they don't fit. And so then like you put it on, you're like,
oh, you took that
whoops.
pause? Yeah.
Like,
oh, no.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Some on-the-job training there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I never actually got to mess with one. I just, we talked about it in class, and that was it,
Yeah.
Man.
Cool.
Yeah, that because like getting that depth, man, it's hard because you get tired and like
Oh,
I've
yeah.
only worked the dummy, but I can imagine on a real human it'd be pretty tough.
Yeah, it's about 2 minutes, and we trade out, and then we just have like three people that are kind of like rotating through doing that. But it's pretty cool, and I mean that's really like where we can make a difference. And like right now with our response times, it's not specific to like it's kind of like hard. It's like a cascading type deal. So like you just heard, we were all out, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is like about 40% of our calls happen in District 4. So like out there kind of by Costco, really dense, lots of people, a lot of the like lower income, like assistance housing is out there, and like just some of the like lower end, people that, whatever, that live under the bridge and everything, the unhoused or whatever they call them. But they run so many calls. So that engine goes on a call, and then there's another call in their district. So then the engine that's downtown at Pine and Madison goes out there, and they're on a call. So now we take, and there's another call. And so whether it's in District 1 or, wherever, but it's probably our third busiest engine is Engine 2, which is at Park and Mount.
Oh, yeah.
And it's gone. So now the engine sitting at 39th and Russell is covering everything from the top of the Rattlesnake and top of Grant Creek to 39th Street. We got one engine out in Miller Creek. So, I mean, this is what happens. So now you're trying to shuffle the deck. Now you're trying to, okay, we're going to move this engine here, do this. You're trying to like play all these chess things, and like, we just get overrun with calls. And, sometimes we can't even send an engine to a call. And, a lot of the times we're able to like kind of filter some of those calls out and not have to go on them if we need to. But, that's basically where we're at, is like, what they'll probably end up doing is like hiring the people. And so it'll be the mill levy is for $7 million. And so the main chunk of it is for 20 new firefighters. And I think there's another bureau. There's like one bureau guy, one training guy, and then the rest of them are like true blue, like on the floor firefighters, and to staff an engine. And that engine would probably put at Station 4 initially, just to like go run calls to like less the burden, so that we can get there quicker and, not have that what we call station reliability. And so that cascading thing happens all the time. So engine 1's out. So now, not only is engine 1 taking a longer call because it's out in Station 4's area, now Station 2, if there's one in either one of those districts, it's also taking longer to get there. Yeah. So like this thing, and then we're leaving the entire city wide open. And so we need another engine on the north side of the river, I think, or close to it somewhere. Yeah. So, and they're studying that right now. The city is studying again. And we should get into studying. Yeah. We'd be good at it.
Yeah. So, I don't know if I'd be good at it, but I'd help you out.
And so, it's, I don't know how you get good at it, but
I don't know. I'm just following your lead, that's all. But that's another, like, wrench in the mix that people probably don't want to think about, is the river. And there's only so many ways to get across the river. It was like 3 bridges altogether.
Yeah, there's 4. Yeah.
4 bridges.
It's just like, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's just how the city's designed.
It gets necked down, and but I mean, I think that'll like put a lot of like the stress off of us. And then the other part of the mill levy is like the MST. Have you ever like heard about the mobile support team?
No. Yeah. Go ahead. I might have an idea. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like so this is another like MFBF thing, like this one of these guys that's so into this, like all this like fundraising and everything, named Mike Birnbaum. He was like a parole officer and for years, and got hired with the fire department, kind of understood kind of the other side of like mental health stuff. And he went and applied for a grant, he's just a firefighter. And first, initially the chief said no, and then the second time they said yes, once they were kind of summoned by the city council, like, you might want to say yes to this, ironically. So they take this grant, and they hire some EMTs, and they hire social workers. And they partnered with Partnership Health, and Partnership Health basically covers the clinician, I think is what they actually technically call them. So they're like a social worker or a mental health professional. There's all different levels, but they're one of those levels And there's a bunch of different people, but they have a hierarchy, and it's hard to explain. But anyways, they have a van. They're 2 vans, and they have an EMT and a social worker on it, basically.
Oh, nice.
And so from 10 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, this van, if you're having like a mental health problem, which does happen, like whether you can't get your medication or, it's not. And like a lot of people think it was like designed to like, help like the unhoused and the, people. And it really wasn't. I mean, they do help those people, but, generally it's to like help some of these people that we kept taking to the hospital. Like we'd go to somebody's house like 3 times a day, take them to the hospital. Hospital would be like, no, get out, so we just go back and take them back. And it was just like this revolving door. So it's really annoying for us, because we can't like help the person. We don't know what to do. So these guys like actually know what to do. So if they need like, a doctor or a prescription, or, they need to see a therapist or whatever, they can like help them. And then they like help them fill out their like paperwork for Social Security or benefits or whatever.
Oh,
like
that's super
they
good.
understand that end of it to where we just didn't understand it. So $1.5 million of the dollars goes to fund that permanently, gets that set
cool.
up. And it's like actually used, man, it's like 3,000 calls a year or something. It's crazy.
Dang,
and that helps the cops too. Cause I mean, that takes a load off them and us.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like the time, being on call for you or the cops, it's like that's time where you're off the street or unavailable, and like you said, and you only have a small window of time to help that person. And it's like clock's ticking. Like, can we help you? Do you want to get transported? What do you need? And then you gotta go. That's I don't know if people really get that. Like I think probably the old movies sometimes I think you see like the firefighters who are like, there's not anything going on in towns like Mayberry, so it's like, hey, what can I help you with? Let's,
Well, and if you had, like, I mean, like our average, I bet our call is probably like our average call times 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
That's from the time we get dispatched, the time we clear, on the average, I bet it's around 20 minutes.
That's really good.
But I mean, those MST guys, I mean, they're way over an hour. I bet they're close to 2 hours.
That's what I was thinking.
So, I mean, it just takes so much time to do that. You just can't commit that, the fire resource to that. And we're just not trained for it. We try, and a lot of us like, would go out of our way to like help these people, but those social workers, man, they know everything. They know like what's open, what's not. I mean, they're just like in the mix. And it just makes a better experience for the person, more consistent in experience. And so, I think that's like a great deal for our community to just be able to have that. And that's like kind of a county-wide resource. So like,
dude,
it's in, I mean, I don't know, I'm sure everybody has somebody that's had like a mental health, break or whatever. And I mean, they can come in and talk them, and like, so they don't have to go to the hospital. Like, just let's get you to Monday to where you can go see your therapist. And, so it's pretty beneficial.
That's what I was going to say, speaking more of the language, because, not to say anything against us fire folks, but we're kind of more blunt instruments, right? Like problem, fix, like,
oh, for sure.
Blood, stop blood, like trauma, those things, versus like the emotional, thing that's going on. Like we're not trained for it. We don't know, like where, like you said, that therapist is speaking the language, knows what's going on, knows what to say, the right questions. Where like, for me, I'd be like, so are you sad? Like I wouldn't know what to do.
I can give you a hug.
Do you know, quick squeeze? Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, so, that's really cool, man.
That's one part of it. And then the other part, there's like some debt service. And so like when you hear debt service, that is basically the city. That stuff is being funded through the city's general fund.
Oh.
And so that is relieving some burden off the city so that they can like fund other programs, because they're like in a kind of a tax crunch right now, and every city in Montana is. I mean, this is nothing real specific to Missoula, just every single city is. So it helps relieve that part of it. And so there's a little bit of bond debt, I think, from our Station 5 from 2006, I think was the last time we passed that. So there's like a couple years left on that that they're going to pay with it. And then it will pay for like the new station.
Oh,
and
nice.
So, so they'll pay for that. And then it kind of works out because like, about the time that, Station 5's debt's paid off, that money will free up. And so we'll be able to like start looking at Station 7. And we'll have money there to like do that. So it's a good deal for like long-term planning. We've just never been able to like plan very well because it was like, and the backstory on this like bond is like in 2019, we were kind of getting ready to like go do what we're doing right now. And, into the spring of 2020, we were going to like do something in the fall, I thought. And then COVID happened.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so like our numbers dropped way down because nobody was calling unless they were dying.
Yeah.
And so, it really changed the landscape. And, our chief was not maybe like the best leader in the world. And so he really dropped the ball and just kind of like whatever the city wanted, they did. And,
That's tough.
he really like put us back behind the eight ball. But our new chief and the assistant chiefs have done like a great job of like trying to like get us back there. And then they ran a mill levy that failed like a year and a half ago for like all of the mental health stuff, and it was just not. They didn't do a great job of like explaining what it was, and just it failed miserably. So
because if you do a little better description of it, right, like people want to know kind of where their money's going, and like the levies for the school systems and stuff. Like people like to see exactly where it's going to go, and then you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially like the mental health stuff is, everyone who's been around Missoula, especially in the last few years, the Poverello seems like it's just getting filled up, and so to have some more support out there, I think would be big and take some weight off you guys and the cops, like we kind of mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I mean the Poverello is great. I mean they, they are some unique people that are there, but I mean like they had Partnership Health's got a clinic in there, and I mean those guys do a great job.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude, that's something I couldn't do.
Yeah, no, me neither. But I mean you meet some interesting people there, and I mean there is some scumbags, and that's what it is. But I mean most of those people are like literally just kind of on their like bad luck, and it does help them, gets them back in the workforce and gets them back, and you don't really ever see them again. But I mean there's that group that just drags everything down and makes everybody's life miserable. And so that's like the really hard part of everything. And so, but I mean all in all, the Poverello I think is like a pretty well ran organization, and some bad things happen there with their clients and stuff, and but I think they're doing more good than harm.
I think so
and
too,
I think it's worth the money. Mainly the Johnson Street shelter is a little it's like an extension of the Poverello Center, and I don't know, I mean it just looks like a war zone.
It does
there.
look rough. Yeah, I was gonna say
just you're just like, ooh man, it's like that's not cool. And those the people that are there have just brought in, I mean, everybody that lives in that neighborhood is just pissed off. I mean,
I bet,
I mean, it's just hard to manage that.
Especially there was like a nice park that was just built not long ago down the road, and it's like a beautiful spot in Missoula, and then you got people who are just putting their trash out everywhere, and it's not good. Especially when you want your kids to be able to like run free, and it's just the thing with mental health. It's just you never know what you're going to get. So you don't want your kids running free around folks like that.
I mean, there's needles everywhere. I mean, it's horrible. But funny story. Last summer, my buddy and I were meeting there in the morning. We did a detail out at the Helibase for the DNRC, and we were meeting there and playing pickleball in the morning before a shift. And then, but I brought my dog one day, and I couldn't really, because the dog park's right there behind the pickleball court, and I look over there, and my dog's sitting on this bench with this guy with like all these tattoos and like the ear things and like braids, and like the guy's just got his arm around my dog, and he's just like petting him. They're just having it was just like we're playing pickleball. These like two hippie firefighters and this like biker dudes with my dog just hanging out. It's pretty funny.
Like, as long as he's happy.
Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah, man, that's kind of like a Missoula moment there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Moments. That's cool, man. And so before I skip on our next subject, am I leaving anything off the old fire side of things? I feel like I was going to ask you more questions, but
can we like finish up the mill levy stuff?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, let's do that.
So there's just some other debt service. There's some so they're like a big part of it. They say like retention and recruitment. It's like $1.8 million, and basically that is like a pay raise for the firefighters, then the cops. So that takes like a 1.8 million, maybe even 1.88 million off the general fund. The cops and firemen are like, I mean, depending on who you're talking to, we're roughly 20 to 25% underpaid to our comparables, and the city's like admitted that they are, but they just can't afford to pay it.
Yeah.
And so, I honestly think that they like want to pay us that. They just don't have the money. And so some of that is just to get us back up to, so we can like retain people. Cause we're only getting like, 10 years ago, we'd get like 350 people to apply for like 2 positions. And if this mill levy passes, we only had like 60 people apply this year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys are seeing that too. Like,
Totally.
just not being able to, and the like just level of people that you're getting is not like as great. And
the quality's going down, like you said, because we're not paying anything either on the Forest Service Fed side of things. So, people can't really even afford to live around here on what we're paying, and you guys are probably getting the same thing. You know?
And we have to live within 30 minutes of the city. So, it really puts a strain on, the old budget. You can't move outside and just commute or whatever. So
no,
it's a pain in the ass.
Jeez, yeah, that's tough, man. I don't think people understand that part either. Especially in a place like Missoula. Well, most towns in Montana are booming, and the cost of living is going up everywhere. But especially in like Missoula and Bozeman and all these other big towns that people want to be in. And on a blue collar salary, it's hard to afford a family house.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Man, that's tough. I know. Like I was talking to somebody about do you call it the consortium or consortium?
Yeah, you can call it whatever you
I've
want.
heard both.
I've heard both too. Yeah, I don't know exactly what actually the true blue, statement is, but yeah, whatever that is called, the firefighter test.
Yeah, the firefighters. There we go. That sums it up nice. Yeah, because I heard. I took it years back, and it was actually, I think it was on its way down a little bit, but it was still like pretty packed. Like there was a lot of folks that showed up.
Yeah.
And then I heard like after that, every year it's just like noticeably smaller numbers because, like you said, I think a lot of factors from what I heard, but like the cost, like Montana just doesn't pay like other places. Like you go to Spokane, and I know when I was trying to get in the firefighter world, Spokane I think was starting off at like $90,000 a year, which is like way more than most places in everywhere in Montana at that point. Even Big Sky I think was only like $70,000 at that point.
Yeah.
And then so it's like,
and the house costs half.
Yeah. Right.
And then. The one difference between a lot of these places that some people don't understand is like Spokane works like a 56-hour work week, and we work a 42.
Oh, gotcha.
And so they're working 14 more hours a week than we are. And so...
Which puts a little extra on it every year.
But they also staff correctly, so they're, you're not getting like killed like we are. Like if you ran like calls per firefighter, I'm sure we're like off the charts.
Yeah, I bet. I'm glad you mentioned that because I kept meaning to bring that up because you guys, was it like 3 firefighters per truck? Is that kind of what you guys roll in?
Yeah, we have 5 engines, minimum staffing's 3, and then we have a battalion chief, which is like in his own rig.
Oh yeah.
And he's like the boss, and then there's a captain and 2 firefighters on every engine.
Yeah, so like that's not. Especially compared to the wildland world, that's not a lot of folks. Like we're staffing 4 per truck typically, and then we usually are sending like a engine and a chase truck everywhere we go, so we got at least 8 folks everywhere we go. And for you guys to only have 3 folks, and someone's, and and correct me if I'm wrong, like I was only a firefighter for a minute, so like I don't know everything, but like, if you go on a fire scene, like it's usually like the tailboard, the captain, and the engineers like run the pump, right? And so it's like you don't really have 2 folks that are like on the scene really, like. Well, the other guy's like staffing the pump and everything, right? And so it's like, man, you guys, really thin,
Yeah, no, it gets a little wonky there at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that was like another thing to go on with this mill levy is like we don't have money to like staff like an engine. And so like we had guys out doing water rescue training, and they're out on the water, and we have a fire.
Oh man.
So now and one of the engines is out on a call. So engine 1's like deep up the Rattlesnake on a call.
Oh.
And now like one engine, we sat there, I was the BC that day, and we sat there for 7-8 minutes till the second engine got there. Jeez, which is in a structure fire is a eternity.
Yeah, it's a lifetime, man.
And so those guys are like shot basically afterwards, and it was a huge fire. So it's never ending, there's always something.
And you do the wildland, or you do wildland too, so you can attest to it, man. Like everything is bigger, heavier, tougher, and you're wearing more stuff in the structure world.
Oh my gosh. I know.
And you can't breathe, like what is this saying, you're breathing through a straw, like with
was
SCBA.
Yeah.
Subcontained breathing apparatus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is real, man. Like I'd messed around a little scuba diving in like pools before. So I was like, this should be all right. But man, doing like anything on the second story or run up ladder,
yeah.
run some hose up some ladder. Holy cow!
Well, it's crazy. We have those guys wear those, whatever, the Fitbits or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's crazy. Like 12 minutes, it's like 4 or 5,000 calories.
I bet,
You're just
dude.
like, whoa,
Yeah, and
that's
cooking.
insane. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and you're hotter than hell, and like, I think that's probably the worst part of it is like you get so dehydrated,
Oh yeah, man.
and you don't realize it, and then you're like, don't feel good, and you like start drinking water, and I'm sure like if you get down in Arizona, like when it's like 110 out, you just keep drinking water, and it's like, has anybody peed?
Yeah.
You just keep drinking.
Peed all day. Yeah. No, and that's really comparable because I did a lot of saw line down in the Southwest. Like 110-degree weather, and that's probably about the closest thing is being in a full, what do you call it? Your turnouts, being like your full turnouts, and I was just doing drills. Like I didn't even last long enough to like go on any live fire. So like, I mean, doing like fire, like the one thing that was super hot was like the practice fire in the container.
Oh, okay,
do you guys do
yeah.
the same thing?
Well, we have like a burn building.
It's
We
like,
have
yeah, it's kinda like the same
yeah,
thing,
the
yeah.
kind of the trailer the Montana Fire Service Training Center has, right?
Well, this one was like a Connex box next to the
Oh, okay.
burn building, and so like we just kind of like went in there for like our practice fire during the academy. I went to Great Falls.
Oh, okay,
I went to Great
yeah.
Falls Fire
It's
Department,
just a little burn building, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, cool.
and then like the second story search, where you go up and find the dummy and drag him out, and you
Yeah.
blindfolded, and my word, dude, I don't know if I've ever been so gassed in my life.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I don't it messes me up, I'm like, I was 21 when I got hired with the fire department. I was like ready to rip, every
Yep.
day, and now I'm like, it's got to be about 65, 70 degrees, no wind, no rain, no snow, no sun.
Yeah.
And, it's like I need to make sure like there's other people there too, and it's like we can do this.
Yeah,
So,
man.
but it never
Awfully,
works
dude.
out that way.
No, dude.
It's always cold or hot or something.
Yeah,
So.
never that perfect temperature, and with Great Falls, we started the academy like in the late winter, so like should have been nice, but I was still like just sweating my ass off in that suit.
Oh, I know. And then you stop and you're just like, okay, now I'm cold.
Yeah, soaked.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, getting behind that hydration curve, man, it's so hard. Like I learned my lesson in Southwest, but even then, it's different in the turnouts because like I didn't really notice until I take it off, and then I'd be sitting like if we were like going into class or something, to do something like being soaked. I'm like, man, I haven't, like you said, I haven't peed all day really, and been drinking water. I'm like, then I'd start getting some electrolytes in the system and start feeling all right. But then I'd have a headache, and that was like the big cue. I was like, oh man, I'm behind the curve here.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like a little bit of that carbon monoxide, like it makes my eyes burn. It's horrible.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so sensitive to smoke now. Like, and I got I think around 16 years of wildland fire, time. And yeah, like I used to be fine. I'd eat some smoke, and you'd feel a little rough. But now, I mean, holy cow, even just a little bit, and I got a headache all night. And sometimes I feel like garbage in the morning.
Oh.
My eyes are swollen still, and it used to never be like that.
Yeah, I know. And then like you go slip in that like goddamn tent, and
Yeah.
you're just sitting there, your eyes are on fire. You're just like, I really should really rethink what I'm doing here.
Oh, so many nights like that, man. And then like the inversion would pull in, so the smoke would just settle in camp, and you'd just be like breathing all night, and you wake up feeling even worse.
Yeah, it's like,
You're like, this can't be good for my
takes that-
longevity.
no.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Where do you work at?
Right now I work out of Hamilton, but I just got a fire last spring. Yeah, so I just recently got a fire. So I'm still working with the Forest Service, but I'm in partnership coordinator position right now. So like working with like I haven't yet. I'm a trainee, but like my person I work under does like Mule Deer Foundation, and I think we're trying to get a partnership with the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
Oh, okay,
And
sweet.
yeah, do some like habitat stuff, like some thinning and some prescribed fire, and just get some improvement in the forest there for like and Wild Turkey Foundation is one of the ones that we're working with too. So
Oh, nice.
it's really good because you know how it is in the woods, man. If like we've been taking care of it for too long and let it get overgrown, and it's like turkeys and deer and elk and everything else doesn't want to roam around in spots they used to roam. So
I know, man. You get up there in the flathead, and like some of that like dead down's like 15 feet, and you're just like, dude, this sucks.
yeah, man,
This is ruined.
Oh, it is. And I remember like when we were kids, being around Whitehall, it's that lodgepole, so it's all jackstraw between Whitehall and or Butte and Helena. And it's like, man, this could be awesome, but you wear yourself out just trying to climb over everything.
Oh,
and you're falling and beating yourself up, and it just sucks. It should be a nice forest,
Yeah. I wish they like let the cattle graze a little bit. It kept it pretty nice. We had we kind of bumped up against Forest Service stuff and some state land and stuff, and they'd always have cattle grazing on it. So you could just walk for miles, just
so
going
nice.
through there, like
a manicured lawn.
Yeah,
you know?
it was great.
Oh yeah, and the deer and elk love it too because they keep it down, you know, so they can eat on it too, and they can see, you know, so predators aren't sneaking up on them as much, you know.
For sure.
Especially the wolves and stuff now.
Yeah.
So did the mill levy? Did it already get voted on or
No? June 4th.
June 4th. All right.
Yeah, it's coming. You'll see us out and about and everything, and so if anybody's got questions or if they want like some information, or if they'd like us to come talk to them, if there's like a group or whatever, they can go to the Friends of the Missoula Firefighters, and I think that you just look that. I think that's on like Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And maybe Instagram. If nothing else, you can look on our like IFF Local 271 Missoula Firefighters Facebook page and Instagram, and they've got all the contacts and everything for it. So we'll need some people like in May to go knock on doors and stuff. And if anybody wants like a sign in their yard or whatever, if you look that up on Facebook, there's a sign up genius. Yeah. So you can like sign up and get a sign in your yard if you live in the city there.
Oh, cool.
We'll come deliver you one.
Yeah, that'll help get the word out, you know, like, especially like, that's where like the Instagram I think is good because like, you know, it was on my radar. I don't live in Missoula County, but seeing that, you know, you guys were tied up that one evening and like you said, it happens, you know, a couple times a week and letting people know like, hey, if things are bad, you know, like you might not get the help as soon as you like. So
yeah, for sure.
If you can get, you know, help get that mill levy push, that'll help things out in Missoula and ease the stress a little bit, you know, for everybody.
Yeah, no, it just makes it safer. You know?
Safer, yeah.
That's the main thing.
That's really the bottom line, yeah.
Making it safer for us and making it safer for the community, and I really do think that'll be like a good like turning point, and they're good jobs too. So I mean, that always helps. Yeah.
So I guess that's a shout out to anyone who's like been wanting to be a fireman. You know, like.
Yeah, and I think things are going to get competitive, so it wouldn't surprise me if the city tried to do like a trainee program where we like maybe hire just like some civilians, like people that have like worked in the you know, like wildland guys or somebody that's had a job for 4 or 5 years but just didn't have the time, or like you lost your EMT, and like hire them on as a civilian, get them through the EMT class, get them up to like whatever the basic is, and then they can start the academy with the other people. Because you know, me, you know, personally, I'd rather hire the right guy, or right person, and you know, get them in there than to, you know, somebody that's got the qualifications. Because I mean, we all know those guys that are on our engine, and you're just like, I don't know how you got there. And
everywhere has it.
And you're just like frightened, you know. And so like, I don't want that person working with me.
No, and like you said, you build, if you had that kind of training program, you build that relationship, you know, a little bit, and then they're trained up before they get in academy, and so you're not working with such a rough cut person like probably I was when I was going through academy, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, just to have like all that training, and like even if you wanted to like do it, and like you're just like, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah,
you would know, and you'd be like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
That'll help me for sure. I mean, I probably wouldn't have really known. What happened to me was my Crohn's got me out of the wildland world because like the smoke inhalation was getting really bad, and then just the diet. I couldn't control my diet at all because you know you eat MREs and whatever else. You know, they get, you know, you've been on fire food.
Yeah,
horrible.
It's not good for you.
Yeah, so like after a long time of that, I was finally like, man, my guts can't take it anymore. So you know, all my friends who were in the structure world were like, well, man, like. Come kind of control your diet with us, you know, and like you get to use some of your fire skills a little bit, you know, some of it kind of, you know, transcends, I guess, you know, or transitions. Not really that much, but a little bit, you know, wet stuff on the hot stuff. And
well, we got such a good wildland program, you know, we got like we're part of a type 3 team, and like, you know, I'm a task force leader, and we have like 4 or 5 other ones, but you know, and I mean, there's like all sorts of like, you know, the logistics and finance and all that stuff. But I mean, you know, you can kind of like work your way through it. It'll take a little bit longer than probably if you worked for the Forest Service or whatever. But I mean, you know, you can go out and do it, and you can pick and choose your, you know, your assignments that you want to do. And, you know, it's a pretty great place to work. And the guys, you know, there's a lot of problems, you know, with the city and stuff, but the guys at work and the gals that work at the Missoula Fire Department are top notch. It's actually kind of like enjoyable to go to work most of the time. A couple weirdos in there. And if you don't know who the weirdos are, you're one of them. Just to be clear. So yeah, no, I like working there, but
that's what you should be, man. Like I think everyone should strive. Just, you know, for any line of work, you enjoy what you do, because otherwise, man, life's too short and it's gonna be miserable, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Like I wouldn't want to do something that I don't like, you know. And And then like kind of like what you're touched on too about like the wildland folks, like it seems like a lot of kids get into wildland because it's super easy to get into it right after high school, and then maybe the lifestyle, or maybe they always wanted to be a structure firefighter and they just haven't done it yet or whatever might have happened, right? So they just didn't get on the path. But if you had like a training program like that, that'd be pretty great because then they get a little bit of fire background, like you said, got maybe a hard work ethic, and then they get a kind of a nice way to introduce themselves into the city fire department. And then if they don't like it, like you said, they can go back to structure or something, or back to wildland or something else. But
yeah, no, I'm hopeful that they'll do something along those lines. But who knows?
Yeah, no. Well, I don't know. Yeah, when I was taking the consortium, there was quite a few out-of-staters coming in. I know a lot of people were pretty frustrated because they were like, man, we're Montanans trying to work in our hometowns, and, like, we're competing against these other folks,
Yeah, and I think, just being representative of, I think we do a pretty good job of that, just being, like, representative of, like, our community. So, like, I think, like, probably a quarter of the people from Missoula are not from Missoula, and then...
which is actually pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, like, probably a quarter of the people are not from Missoula, but they're from Montana, and then like half the people are kind of from Missoula or the like kind of area or whatever. And so, I think just trying to be representative of that, and like it's good to have those outside people coming in, kind of spice it up, but then also, and like I think we do a pretty good job of like making that happen. As much as we can, and so it's really kind of like a cool like organization, and I think it's so fun to work there and just be able to like all the different people. You'll get some. There's one guy that's from deep in Rat Valley County, and then you got some guy that was like a pro surfer from somewhere in California. And they're working on the same engine, and you're like, well, this is interesting.
I'd love that, man, because that's like what I like about the wildland world too, is because like you said, it's just mix of people who have the same interests, just like serving the community or being outdoors, and especially in Missoula you get both, as a Missoula firefighter.
For sure.
Man, that's a really good balance, I think. Like the fear when I was taking the consortium was I think that they're worried that these out-of-stater folks were gonna come in and kind of box out all the Montanans, and because there's some of the folks that were on like around like Spokane or somewhere that are on like those they're almost like Missoula rural has it. They're
fire districts,
the cadets or something.
Oh, okay. Okay, like a volunteer, like a resident volunteer.
Yeah, like a resident volunteer. So you end up getting pinned. Like if you're like me, you don't have any structure fire experience, you get pinned against somebody who's got like a ton of it, and if they're like out of Spokane or a bigger town, they got a lot of fire experience versus me who had zero. So it's like
in our point system, it doesn't particularly matter. I mean, it's helpful. Man. Like we have like a point system, and you get 1 for being an EMT, and maybe like 3 for being a paramedic, and then like if you have a bachelor's degree, you get like a point, and like if you have a fire science degree, you get like the same amount. It's kind of like a weird thing, but they kind of got a list. And so then depending on, what your certs are, like right now, I think if you have like a pulse and an EMT, you're getting an interview.
Oh, really?
But at one point it was like, you had to have like some technician stuff and this and that. And so, but like once you get to the interview, like nobody knows, how you got there. So it's like kind of levels the playing field. So you just got to like work your way up to get to the interview. And then once you get there, at least with the Missoula Fire Department, it's pretty much we're trying to hire like the best people. Yeah,
totally, man. And it definitely shows, just from the folks I know that have been, coming through or either got picked up by Missoula or, didn't quite make it. It's just like getting the best of the best. And
the cops.
Yeah, the cops. Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, dude, when I was taking that practice consortium, in Great Falls, it's like a couple months before the real one, and this Butte Fire guy, big dude, he's like, good luck, but if you can't make it, better luck being a cop. And he just like yelled it out to the whole class. I was like, dang, but I was laughing. Yeah, oh man, such a good community, man. Like the back and forth, and in Great Falls, the gas pumps were at Station 1, where all the like rookie folks are stationed for like the first year, I think, and so like the cops are always coming through, and everyone's just giving each other a hard time, man. It's great.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's cool because then they're out there roaming the streets. You can kind of like. Just like, hey, what's like out there tonight, like on a full moon or something, like things getting weird.
Eclipse.
Yeah, eclipse. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that was crazy today.
Yeah, I bet, man.
That stirred up some stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because like yesterday I kept seeing all these people on Instagram putting like the eclipse energy. I was like, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I don't know if that sucks it away or brings it in or
I don't know.
what.
I think it sucks it away from me because like I was hoping to get some harness it when I was in the gym, but I felt like my normal weak self.
Oh, did you? That happens from time to time.
Yeah, I took a little
Yeah.
time off, but shoot, before I jump to rugby, what do you have anything else? We're leaving it
I
out
don't know.
too?
I think we've talked enough shop.
Yeah.
Let's get into some fun stuff.
That's what I was thinking, man. I mean, you got a bunch of adventure. We talked about, like, we touched a little bit on scuba diving, not really, just like hinted at. And then rugby, man. Like, when you brought up rugby, I was like, oh, dude, man, one of the best sports in the world.
Oh, it is the best sport in the world.
Yeah.
No, I started playing rugby in 1999, and I was 19 years old. I was going to college, Fire Science College in Helena, and a guy that was like a guy I grew up with, his cousin, came through our like fire science building and needed a couple rugby players, and he's like, "You want to play rugby?" And I'm like, "Sure,
yeah, why not?"
Yeah, I'll do that. And the next thing I know, we're at Maggot Fest, and it's like the hockey rink is where they're having the drink up at.
Oh, really?
But they hadn't like quite finished it off yet, so the outside, kind of like behind, not where the ice is at, but kind of on the sides, was like dirt. And we dug with our bare hands, and it was like so cold. It was like the 1st of May and it snowed.
Oh, yeah.
But we dug that and got underneath there and snuck into the party because they wouldn't let us in because we weren't 21.
Oh, yeah. Jeez, man.
It was so much fun.
That is awesome. That's a cool story, man.
Yeah. And so like that kind of got me going. And
dude, what an event that is, Maggot Fest.
Oh, so much fun. It's like the largest social rugby tournament in probably the Western United States, probably at least the Northwest.
Yeah, I would say for sure Northwest.
But it's so much fun. And those guys, that's kind of fun because those guys, the guy who started the Maggots, like tonight, his grandson's playing on my U12 team.
Really?
And he actually started the Jesters, which is that was the university team. And then those guys were called the Old Jesters, I think's what they were calling themselves. And this is like 1976 or something. And then, but they loved to party. Yeah. And that was their thing. They didn't care if they won, lost, draw. They wanted to win the party. Yeah. The third half is what they called it.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. And so those guys got it. Anyways, they were pretty crazy. But they were over just north of Spokane, like up in Canada. I can't think of the name of the town. But anyways, they were up there, and one of the old codgers was like, "Oh, those dirty maggots from Missoula," and the name stuck.
Oh, I was wondering. I never knew that, man.
Yeah, and so that was how they got their name, and they just kind of rolled with it. And they have had buses, and I mean that is such a great organization. It's so well run. They own a house, free and clear, and they rent it out to some of the rugby players, and they take care of it. And we take the kids over there once in a while and watch rugby and have pizza parties and stuff. It's such a great organization, and they do like so many great things, and they got like tons of money, and they really do like push forward rugby and just the social aspect of it. It's so cool. And a lot of people don't know, but I mean, we've had some like crazy good rugby players come out of Missoula.
Oh yeah, I played with one of them.
Yeah, who'd you play with?
Brent. Shit, now I'm blanking on his name. Hawaiian. He played in Dillon for a hot second. Now he's on the USA rugby team.
Oh, Martin?
Martin. Yeah, that's what it's Martin.
Yeah, he actually kind of retired. He's
really?
Yeah, he played on the sevens team forever, but he is a crazy freak of an athlete. And his nephews both play on the U12 and U14 team, and they are lights out. That's so awesome. Crazy, man. But he was playing for the Seattle Seawolves, which is like the Major League Rugby, which is like the United States.
Oh,
rugby.
Martin was?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
so he was playing there for the last, I think, 3 seasons, and then he didn't play this year, and I'm not sure if he was like hurt or I think he had a second kid, and so I think he's in Portland is what they said, working, doing something else, and they don't overpay rugby players.
No, it's so brutal on you after a while.
Yeah.
You only get so many miles.
And so but he was great, and I mean, there's a couple other guys that like played at Life University, and they were national champions, and there's some like pretty good female rugby players that have went to the highest levels of that are from Montana. And
yeah, the Missoula better side, right? That's the female team?
Yeah, but there's like there's a girl up in Whitefish that plays on the USA women's team right now. And then there was like man, I'm trying to think of what her name was, but she's a coach in Bend right now. But she played on the USA women's team,
Really?
probably I don't know 7-8 years ago.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah, but she's from Missoula, and yeah, it's kind of funny. There's like some really good like rugby players that have like done some like crazy accomplishment. There's one kid that's at the Naval Academy right now, I think, and then 2 kids that are at West Point on full ride scholarships. Not that they're all full rides, but
Yeah.
but those are like pretty big Division 1 programs. And then I think there's a couple other kids. I just don't know where exactly they're at, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And like rugby's just exploding right now. So it's been like pretty fun to watch like my kids, after COVID, my oldest or middle son wanted to play rugby. And so I went down there, and a couple of the guys, the Maggots, were coaching. And so I started helping out, and it's just kind of fun to watch it go from like, we barely had enough kids for sevens to, now I think we have like 100 kids there tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I think my brother first moved to Missoula, and I just started playing rugby. I was going to school in Dillon, and there's big population of Hawaiians that are playing football, and then they started the rugby club, and that's how I met Martin. And then so my brother was just messing around. I think he was getting ready because he was going to come fill in with us. So he had a brand new rugby ball, and he was messing around. Maggots just happened to be practicing, and so him and my other friend went and played with just practiced with the Maggots and played around, which was great because he got to figure out the game a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because like to me, man, you play rugby, like to watch rugby sometimes can be a little confusing, but after you get your hands out and actually play it, man, to me it was like clear. All of a sudden, got in a game, figured out all the rules a little bit, rucking and scrums and stuff, and knock-ons, and then. Yeah, it was like during practice it was like slow speed. I don't know, my brain just wasn't clicking. And then with the first game, I was like, "Oh, all right, I'm there."
Yeah, no, it's insane. I've been, me and my buddy Andy, we went to I think there was 50 of us that went to France. The World Cup was this last fall,
Dude.
And so like we all traveled. We got a charter bus, and we went to Nice and Montpellier and Saint-Étienne and Lyon and Paris, and like we just watched a bunch of pro games, and then we played some of their club teams.
Really?
And yeah, we were just partying, and it was awesome. Man. We had so much damn fun.
Such a good time, man.
Yeah.
And for folks who don't know, like the community of rugby, like you said, that what do you call the third half?
Yeah.
Afterwards, and it's so true. I mean, and how serious it is. Like folks really need to experience it because it's so good.
Yeah.
But like we were playing. And I think it was Bozeman. I don't want to like trash on Bozeman. Maybe they had something to do, but
you should.
They left. They didn't stay and party with us. We're in Dillon. We had like the ranchers help build the field, and weld the uprights for us, and is it called uprights? Am I messing that up?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with that.
We call it whatever you want.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, it's my podcast, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so like we had kegs, and like the Hawaiians made like a bunch of food and stuff. Like it was like a to do at the field, and we beat them by quite a bit, and I think they just kind of were not happy about it, like kind of sore about it. It's like, but folks who don't know, it's like part of the tradition, win or lose, you party, man. You get together, you talk about the game, you have a great time, and usually you're just celebrating plays whether you won or lost with the other team. My brother happened to be on a losing team one time, but he like jumped a guy, which you're not supposed to do, but he's got a hell of a vertical, so like they were cheers to that, and like just all the cool little things, man. It's just such a cool event, man. Like the after party like really brings everything together,
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so much fun, and the social aspect, even with the kids, not that we have them drinking beer anymore. But and I mean, like we still, like that's a big part of it. Like they have a feed for all the teams, like afterwards, and everybody sticks around and has a piece of pizza or whatever, and we hand out like the little player of the match medals and stuff, and so it's so cool. It's such a cool sport, and just if just to extend on that, like in rugby, like in football or wherever, like a lot of sports, the coaches are like always like managing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And in rugby, they like give you the skills and the knowledge to like make the decisions, but I mean the coach is basically sitting on the sideline not saying anything. And the captain is put on the captain to make great decisions. And there's lots of big decisions, and like the coach really doesn't you know, like if an NFL team, I mean, can you imagine just your coach just standing on the sideline stoic and like
Yeah.
your captain makes the decision?
Man.
So
Yeah.
it's really good for the kids because it challenges them to be like better.
Yeah.
And, you know, really makes them like want to be a team player. Like, you know, we're just not running XYZ. Like there's a theory behind this.
Yeah.
And you know, just the camaraderie that he talked about with rugby of, you know, you make a mistake and, you know, like just teaching those kids like that's my bad. I messed that up, guys. I'm sorry. And then like the other kids are like, we got you.
Yeah.
And that's always the like chant of rugby is with you, you know. And so like if you don't play as a team, like you can put 7 amazing athletes out on the field, and if the other 7 play as a team and those 7 don't, they'll beat the less athletes will beat them every single time.
Yeah.
So you have to like, and if things are going so fast, I mean you just can't stop.
Totally.
You know, it's like you don't have time to like pout about something.
No.
You know, you just gotta go.
Yeah, you got to dust off and go, and that and to that too. Like when we played the Maggots, you know, they were the older team than us. We were college kids, you know, like a lot of us ex football or I was ex track, you know, and so we had speed, but we didn't have the cohesion because we hadn't played together that long. And the Maggots did, man. They you know wiped the floor with us. You know, it was a fun game. And then Martin jumped on our side and kind of evened it out for a hot second.
Yeah, no, that's a good even out. Yeah, I tackled him one time, and you know, I guess I didn't know who he was, and I was just like, you know, I tackled him, and I was like, ooh, I don't remember the last 10 seconds. You know, I was just like, yeah, all right, I think I'm good.
Yeah,
you know, I'm just kind of like wandering around the field, and you know, like that was before concussions were like such a big deal. But
before we knew it was going on.
But I was just like, wow, that was like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah, he was a unit. He's a unit.
Yeah.
And the way he could move, man, he's so shifty and so smooth. The ball movement.
He's big too.
Yeah,
you know?
Big.
You
Yeah.
know, that's like a guy that size moving like that is not good.
No, not good. It's so hard to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you get with some of his Hawaiian buddies that he like either grew up with or played like football and Dillon with, I mean, they just like were on a different kind of wavelength, and the way they'd move, man, and the passing back and forth, it was cool. You know, they grew up playing it too. I think a lot of those guys. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like the flow was really cool to watch. You know,
Nice.
It's hard not to like keep moving with him because I'd be like, wow, that's really cool. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go.
Yeah, well, I'm not that fast, so I just, you know, whatever. I'll meet you back at midfield.
Man, that's the thing, the cardio in that. Like, I don't know. People always talk about soccer, but I think that rugby is way more cardio to me.
It is so brutal.
It is, man. Especially you watch the pro games where they're kicking it a bunch, you know?
Oh, my God. I can't even imagine.
I couldn't either, dude. It makes me, like, want to puke just kind of thinking about it right now. And
yeah. And, I mean, those guys are, I mean, they're bigger and faster. And, I mean, like, their ruck times, like, I would time, like, our ruck time. So that's from the time the guy got tackled to when the ruck's established, you know, for our, like, high school kids, it was, like, 4 seconds. And, I mean, they were sprinting. It was as fast as they could do it. And I was like, well, that's pretty good. But, like, England, like, they're 1.8 seconds. You're like, what?
it's like, how?
It's like the tackle happens and the guy is there.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, that's crazy. And the guy's like, you know, 6'5" and 285 pounds, and he just like cleared 10 meters in less than a second and a half, and like did something. You're like, whoa, man, that's scary.
Yeah, it is scary. Yeah, and I feel like rugby players have gotten so much bigger in the last like 10 years, even. You know, like maybe just the movies that made them look like more like.
No, I think they have. I mean, and like the you know, the NFL started a like European like football program, I guess. So they stole a bunch of soccer players and rugby players, and they've signed like a couple of them, several of them, I guess, throughout the league.
Oh, wow.
Like the real and good ones too. And it's kind of cool to see those guys. Like I always kind of wondered, like, is this like a good rugby player? Like, is he as good as an NFL player? And like, you know, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I mean, they obviously signed the guy, so I mean, he beat somebody out.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering too. I mean, especially like the open field tackling that you have to do in rugby is really difficult. Sometimes just you know.
Oh yeah.
And man, you get someone shifty like back to Martin. That guy, man, he was so shifty.
Oh yeah.
I missed him a few times.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I on purpose sometimes.
yeah, maybe it's more of that. Yeah. Like, whoops. Oh, I remember. Guys, it Tupa?
Tupa?
Yeah, Tupa.
Yeah.
Oh man, he was rumbling in, and I didn't step into that one. Like I could see my shoulder going away if I stepped into that one.
Yeah. No, he's a large individual.
He is. Is he still playing?
Yeah, he plays a little bit. He hurt his leg or something. I saw him this weekend.
Oh,
He
nice.
didn't play, but I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Yeah, it was the first time I ever played wing.
Oh, really?
I was standing in the circle, and they're like, "What do you want to play?" And the guy goes, "Wing." And the other guy goes, "What do you want to play?" And he's like, "Wing." And he's like, "What do you want to play, Ken?" I'm like, "Wing." And they're like, "Okay."
That's awesome.
I'm like, "We have 3 wings." And they're like, "No, he's going to play fullback." And I'm like, "All right, cool."
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
And it was
awesome.
like pretty nice. Like I got cold. Like usually I'm like, get done playing rugby. I'm obviously a prop, And so for people that don't know rugby, the wing is usually like the really fast guy. The prop is the kind of muscle.
The pusher.
And so me out there on the wing was something to be seen. But I had a ton of fun. And
Yeah, it's a blast. That's the thing about every position. Because when I first started, we were pretty big. Like we had a lot of Hawaiians were there and a lot of good sized fellas. And then we started shrinking, losing people, and so I started working my way in. Went wing, outside center, inside center, and then what's the one right off the scrum there?
a scrum half.
Scrum half. No, like I was
Flanker?
Flanker. Yeah, that went
flanker,
which
yeah.
really, I mean, you can see
Oh,
me,
that's a
very
great spot, yeah.
undersized flanker though.
Yeah.
I was not helping the scrum at all. So
Yeah. As long as you make it tackles.
yeah, I mean that's about all I was good for really, just throwing my body at someone's legs.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's half of it.
Yeah, but man, you push against big guys like you, man. Oh man, I felt like I was pushing against a wall and then losing, and getting pushed the other way.
Yeah, no, it's scary.
It
It's
is
frightening.
the amount of horsepower that comes out of a scrum. For folks who don't know, it's impressive.
Yeah, no, it's frightening.
Yeah, and I was in college. I was probably I was actually 20 pounds heavier, and I was lifting pretty good. Trying to get in rugby shape. So I felt pretty good about myself until I started playing flanker and just getting pushed around like a kid.
Yeah. Oh, I was when I was in obviously a lot better shape when I was younger. It was kind of fun, not dying, after every play. So yeah.
I know. I was thinking about Maggot Fest this last year. Every year, pretty much, I think about it, and I don't know why I didn't jump in this last year, but then like this year with the kiddo and stuff, like I'm way out of shape, so I'm like, maybe we'll just go watch again.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you should come. Like we have like an old boys division. Like it's so much fun.
That'd be my speed for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you should come down on Thursday. That I think it's like May 18th maybe. Whatever that Thursday is. They have we have bring a team in. Well, we bring 3 teams in. So we bring a women's team in to play the better side, an old boys team to come in to play the flies, which is the over 35 team. That's the one I play on.
Yeah.
And then they bring a team in to play the maggots. And it's kind of like a host side. It's pretty. There's like beer and some food and stuff. And then we host these teams, and they're kind of like our special guest during
cool.
Fest. And they end up going on a rafting trip on Friday and golfing, and they just do a bunch of crazy stuff all weekend with them.
awesome.
So and then they play rugby, and so it's pretty fun.
That's really fun, and for folks who haven't been around Missoula for this, or maybe just didn't know what was going on, the energy that Missoula has during that week or weekend, is insane. All these rundown hotels that usually you don't see anybody in, it's just pouring with rugby players, and the whole town just the energy, and it's all good energy. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's so much fun, and it's just great. My kids are playing now, and it's so much fun to see them start to love it and just really excel, and it's I love it.
Yeah,
I can't say it. And we got the youth rugby has really got a great organization. We have a really nice lady named Allison that runs it, and she does a great job. And we've got great coaches, and we really try to pound into the kids this is a game.
Yeah,
We're not trying to change the world here. Some of you guys are going to go on to college. Some of you guys might make it to the pros, and, most of you guys are going to just be playing for the Maggots or whatever club team. But, you're going to end up like me. You're going to be 43 years old, and you're going to still go out there and play because you love it. And, that's really what I want out of it.
yeah, and then you always have a home, right? You always have your home with the rugby and with Missoula.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the what really motivated me is we had a U14 team, but I started a U12 team last year, and last summer they had said that the Rugby World Cup's going to be here in North America in 2031.
Oh, I didn't know. Hey.
Yeah, and so I think Mexico's part of it too, but the United States and Canada definitely. And I think Mexico might actually get a Major League Rugby team next year.
That's cool.
Is the rumor.
Yeah.
But Yeah, they'll find out. And but yeah, I think everybody's like really shooting for 2031, and
Yeah.
it's been pretty crazy. Like our union's expanding, and it's been fun to
Oh,
watch the
it's
kids like just crush it.
so good, man. Cause like, and you're probably kind of the same way. I mean, well, Helena's a little bigger town, so you guys had rugby, but being in Whitehall, we had our PE teacher and football coach was a rugby guy. And, I'm not sure where he got introduced to it, but he loved it, man. And he was a football coach, loved football, but he loved rugby more than anything. And he'd go to Maggot Fest and always talk about the good times. And so, like, at then, it already kind of like, a little interest got piqued. But to have it at a younger age, like you guys are doing, man, I think that's huge. And like the after party socials, like with the kids getting together, eating and with the other team, and not getting separated. I mean, the sportsmanship there. And then, like you said, like kind of the ownership over the mistakes. Like, you don't have time to. You're not getting pulled out most of the time, you don't have time to like marinate on it. It's like keep going, and you work on it as you're going,
Yeah, we're trying to build good humans, and I don't know if a lot of sports organizations do that enough. Like they're not like they're trying to like pump out pro athletes, and I mean just statistically it's just not, it's like this huge like baseball organization that's, how many pro players do you know from Missoula?
Yeah, baseball players? No.
Yeah, none.
None.
And so it's just like, not that that's like should hamper anybody from doing it, but I mean, statistically, these people are putting all this money in there for, nothing.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe a couple guys get a college scholarship or whatever here and there, but I mean, how many of the baseball coaches have you heard are like, well, I'm just trying to make good humans?
Yeah. That's true, man. And like, yeah, it's tough. Even with the college basketball thing and basketball in general, it's just like, everyone knows it hasn't been the same since like even the Bulls, and maybe a little bit of the Kobe era. But it's almost like a pouting. It's not as like dust it off and keep going. The Bulls and the Detroit Pistons were like throwing punches at each other, and super physical. And in the documentary The Last Dance, Jordan was just like, just don't show any emotion, just keep going. And then they won the game, And it's like, man, that's more that kind of hard nose, like tough attitude. I think that gets you further in life, is that, not sitting and pouting on something,
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just talking to my buddy Andy, and he's the wrestling coach at Target Range and the middle school, and they just hired a brand new wrestling coach at Big Sky, and he's a stud. And his name's Jade, and he is a stud. My kid goes to Big Sky and absolutely adores him. So I'm real hopeful for Big Sky's wrestling to improve this year or next year. And then, but anyways, he was telling me, because he's like really into wrestling, but the Penn State coach, and I can't think of what his name is. He's like the wrestling Penn State. It's like
just crushing it.
Right, yeah, they're just crushing it. And they were interviewing a bunch of the ex-players, and they're like, "What's like the most surprising thing that guy said to you?" And I was just like, that is so cool. And he said that all these players said that he just said, this is just a game, and we get to play it.
Yeah.
And I just thought like, and Andy was telling me, he's like, how does that just relieve the pressure?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to win. It's just a game.
Yeah, just go out there and do your best.
Yeah. And I was just like, that is so cool for like a top level program. And I'm just like, I'm totally doing that. And like tonight, I'm like at Rugby Press. I'm like, hey, because I'm like, it's just a game, you know? And you could just see all the kids, like they were trying really hard. I'm like, it's just a game. And they just like brought it down like 10 notches and started doing better. And I was like, holy shit, that worked.
I was just going to say, because I know I'm way better when I'm loose. I guess if I get, and like even in college, being college track, I was a sprinter, and not really by choice. We didn't have any sprinters. I was supposed to be a long jumper, but as soon as I'd start like losing, or like if I felt like I was going to lose, I'd tighten up and I'd lose for sure. So in every sport, it translates to like the looser you are, the happier you are, the less tension you have built up, you're a better athlete,
Yeah. And I think that's just so important to shit, I'm 43 years old, and that is just such a good, that was good for me to learn. Maybe, when I'm on a fire or whatever, maybe I'm putting too much pressure on the guys to be like, hey, if we accidentally lose this and burn 10,000 acres, it's just a game.
It's just a game. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
Just tell the division it was just a game.
It's totally fine.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe I got to come up with something a little different.
Yeah, a little better. Yeah. We'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll think about that tomorrow.
Yeah, totally. Well, and that's and that's kind of like the thing, especially with how crazy wildfires have been. It's like, and how fast they can take off. It's like, if we can get it, we can get it. If not, we'll figure it out. Like it's most times just timber. And so we'll try to get around it the next day or whatever. Because otherwise, like you said, you could kill yourself out there trying to catch that sucker too.
Oh my God, yeah, that's crazy.
It is.
So what's your kids into? Are they little? Pretty
Too
little?
little, yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, right now my oldest is a little over 2, and get into soccer a little bit and basketball, basically whatever we're into. I'm trying to think what else. They're growing so much at that age, it's crazy. Like from like 1 to 2, like so spongy, and like I'm trying to think. Oh, even the podcast. Like I don't even think she's watched this, but like I'll be in here messing with something, and she'll grab the mic and start talking to her like she's podcasting. I'm like. How do you know that? Like, I don't.
It's so crazy.
It's so crazy, man. Like, and usually when I have it like transported, they're kind of like tucked in, so it's not really like set up like this. And then so I'll let it out, and she'll just like be like talking, and I'll fake like I'm interviewing her.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
It's crazy though, man. Like I don't know how she knows.
Yeah.
Because I don't. I don't think she'd even be interested if she was listening. Like for a 2-year-old, it'd probably bore her socks off.
I know. I think they are like sponges, and it is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, like all the stuff that you don't even know they're watching. I think that's like. I mean, you're kind of talking about just like lessons to for the next generation. I think that's what we all should be doing is like trying to build the next generation up. Like I heard a cool quote the other day that you think you're getting the I can't remember, like getting the earth from the future or something. I can't remember, like, or the people before you, but really borrowing it from your kids. So like you're setting up the earth for what your kids get to inherit eventually, So that, like with parenting, all that stuff, it's like you're setting up the world to be a better place. The better you can do it is kind of how I interpret that, I guess.
Yeah,
that makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah. No, and it's about half frightening anymore, but I really think people are, good, and so I see a lot of good in the world, and I just hope that, our kids are good kids, and, I just love to see them, like when people tell me that, your kid's like really nice. And, it's just kind of like fun. You're just like, okay, this is like I'm not completely burning this thing down yet.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of, you're like, all right. Yeah. I'm not a horrible. I'm not last place. That's perfect.
Like still on the rails a little bit here.
Yeah.
No, that's totally good, man. And because they're so spongy, it's like, man, I'm always watching what I'm doing. Even in sporting events, when I was younger, I might have been like yelling at the other team if my team's playing somebody. And but I thought it was a thing that comes with age. Now I feel like I relate to the athletes more, and like if I see like a hockey game or something, and I'm a Blackhawks fan, if they're playing like the Devils or something, I'm like, I know it's been a rough year.
It'll be better, hopefully.
Yeah, Bedard's young; he'll come around. But like if I see someone on the other team get injured, I feel bad for him before I'd be like, all right, good, we got a chance, like back in high school, and like the other team's quarterback or some their stud gets injured, you're like, all right, let's go, But now that I'm older, I'm like, oh man, I feel for that person who got injured, even if it's not not on my team, if it's on the other team. I'm like, dang, because I know how hard they work, and now like crushing that could be get injured in a big game, So I think that'll maybe trickle down to my kiddos. I don't know.
Yeah, the one thing, like I was never like a college athlete. I didn't really go to college, but just like competing like with the Maggots and stuff, like just at a higher level or whatever. Just like knowing like how hard that is, and like you hear parents like yelling in the stands, and you'll get there, and I'm just like, oh my God, what do you think you're accomplishing by screaming at your kid?
Yeah.
When he's out there playing basketball, I'm just like, good Lord, they're 12 years old. Like it doesn't help.
Totally.
It makes it, you can just see like the kid just shutting down. You're just like, oh my God, So it's kind of like, I felt like my son was like never, my youngest son was like never kind of like quite there. He was like pretty good, but not quite there. And I was just like, dude, you're gonna come around. You're gonna come around. And man, this last year, he's really come around. But I mean, like, I don't say anything to him, but he's always had like a positive attitude, and he's always a great leader.
That's huge.
And so so it's just kind of cool. Like, okay, that does work. I didn't scream, and he's like being successful. So
Totally.
all right, perfect.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
that goes a long way. I think I noticed like basketball is a good a good like well, sport for that, I guess, because it seems like it's in a small gymnasium, and especially Montana schools, so it's like you can hear the parents. And when I was in junior high, I think one of the starters on the Whitehall team, he was kind of a mouthpiece, like yelling at the refs, yelling at everybody, right? And then so he yells at the ref, and then his dad yells at the ref, and his dad gets in the fight with the ref, and they both get kicked out, and like the cops come, and I'm like,
oh my God.
Like, so I think that kind of set the standard for me. I'm like, nah, that's not the way to do it, man. That's
It's like the first time you see the kid punch the wall and his like hand fold in half, and you're like, oof, definitely not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, that's pretty common in high school sports, and like same thing. Like, luckily it wasn't me. Yeah, I was like,
I was just like, I almost threw up. I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
that is really gross.
Yeah, and then you're out for the rest of the season, because you broke your hand.
Oh, I mean, that kid probably gets cold. His hand probably still hurts.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you get older and that arthritis builds up.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, I got enough little dumb injuries from life that I don't need to be getting self-inflicted ones.
Yeah, no kidding. That's very true.
Yeah, man. Shoot, I could probably keep you all night, man. What was an hour and a half into this sucker?
Oh, we're good.
We didn't even get to the adventure parts.
Oh, we're getting to the adventure parts.
Oh, you want to keep going?
Time?
Yeah, I got time. I didn't want to keep you.
No, dude, I'm good, man. My wife's at work.
Awesome, yeah.
I'm free.
Keep going. Yeah, I think my wife's probably resting with the kiddos, but she'll get her handled.
She might not win.
Yeah.
You'll find out when you get home.
Yeah, exactly. I'll know for sure. But yeah, so let's talk about some of your adventures, man. Like
Well, I was I have 3 kids, and I got divorced from their mom like 9 years ago, and about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, a little over 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I met this lady, and we fell in love, and it was great. And
Beautiful.
I was not much of a like traveler or like adventurer. I was like, my vacations were going on wildland assignments and kids. So I'm kind of in the boat like where you're at right now, just in the grind. That was like what I did, and I had like a little fishing boat and stuff. I take my kids fishing and stuff, but they were pretty young, and so not a lot of world traveling. But my wife Amanda is like awesome, loves to travel, and so we just like make it a priority for us to like go on these adventures, and we just go crush it. Oh, yeah. And she is super into diving, scuba diving, and she really wanted me to do that with her. And so I was just like, let's do it. So awesome. I went and got certified in diving, and we've been to like Mexico and Belize and Hawaii, and we've just like done all these like really cool dives, and it's been awesome.
I heard Cozumel is amazing.
Yeah, we went to Cozumel like a year and a half ago, like at Christmas, whatever that year and 4 months. So we went there, and she had dived there previously, and it was really rad. That's actually a really cool place.
That's what I heard. Yeah, my dad went a few times when I was a kid, and I always thought I'd end up going, but not yet. I will.
Yeah, no, you should go. It's pretty fun. And just I don't know, it's just so cool to be like under the water and just see all these like things that I never thought like in my wildest dreams, like sharks and stuff, like not getting afraid of that. Yeah. Being like, because I thought I'd freak out, and like a shark comes by, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. And then
you're in his world now.
Yeah, it's like I'm dead. Yeah. But and then dolphins and turtles, and I just remember like, because I'd been diving, several times, and I'd seen some like sea turtles and stuff, and then like I remember the guy said, we were diving, and he's like, did you see that baby loggerhead turtle? And it was a pretty big, it was like the size of the table here. Really? I was like, that's a baby? I didn't know. I'm just like, really? Yeah. And I was like, I must have not have saw what he was seeing. Yeah. And then we like went to this place called Half Moon Cay, and we get in there, and here's the loggerhead, and it's like the size of a Volkswagen. Really? And I'm like, holy cow, that is really big, and I don't want to be in the water with it. No, right? And it's like coming right for me, and I'm sitting there like, and I'm not like, an expert diver, so like me moving around in like not panic mode is like, and the like, it just went like right underneath. It did not even care where I was at. It was gonna run me over. It was so cool. Oh,
that's so cool, man.
I did not know that existed, and that was pretty frightening.
Yeah, that's a giant animal, man. Especially
Yeah.
like to be underwater with it when humans don't move very good.
Yeah.
And the colors, right, that you see when you're under there too, right?
Oh yeah, the coral's pretty awesome. Around Belize, that's like the second largest barrier reef. So it kind of goes from like Cozumel and like all the way down to Roatan, Honduras.
Oh,
There's kind of like I don't know, it's not as big as a Great Barrier Reef, but it's pretty damn big.
yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah, and so like whenever you're like in Cozumel or Belize or Roatan, Honduras, there's kind of like out there in the Caribbean, this like huge coral reef, and there is just so much.
Oh man.
I mean, it is crazy. Just huge groupers that could like eat you. It's just like, oh,
Yeah, humbling,
so,
huh?
Yeah. It's like, wow. And I mean, these aren't even the big ones.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Like the whales and stuff.
Oh,
I mean,
true.
I mean, we didn't even see like I bet the biggest shark we saw was maybe 7-8 feet
Which
or
is
something.
still massive.
Yeah, I mean, it's still big, but you're just like, like some of those like really big sharks are like almost twice as big as that, and you're like, wow, that thing would eat me.
Yeah. Oh man, I know. Like when we were in Cabo, they were saying that a lot of people were seeing the whale sharks.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I could just swim off the beach and go find one. So I
Yeah.
tried. I didn't find one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're out there a ways.
No, yeah. Yeah, and they have like the hammerhead sharks go there. I think it's like in October.
Oh, that was scary.
They breed there just like off the kind of coast there in Cabo.
Oh.
And that's like a huge thing there. But Cozumel, I think in the early spring is when the whale sharks come there.
Oh, really?
And they like breed right there. Yeah.
You can swim
Yeah.
with them?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be very cool.
Yeah. I've never been to the whale. I've never seen a whale shark, but I saw a huge like manta ray, and I mean, I bet it was like 15 feet like across. It was
Holy cow.
humongous.
That is huge, like a moving rug, or
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
giant rug.
literally. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, literally. I was like, oh, because the guy's like, jump in the water right now with your snorkel and look, and I like get in there and I was like, oh, I want to get out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that thing can eat me, but
Well-
if it decides to, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah. Well, the croc hunter got stabbed by something like that, right? So
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
I thought they're all
jeez
friendly
Louise.
until that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Yeah, and we've been like, we've done some backpacking adventures. We did the what is it called? The Beaten Path
Oh,
in the
what's that?
Absarki Beartooth Wilderness. You basically go from like basically outside of Red Lodge to what is the name of that first little town? Wait,
I'm trying to think which way you're going. Like, there's Absarki, there's Columbus.
well,
like, south
it's
of that,
back
right?
almost to the park. It's just outside of the park.
Cook City.
Cook City,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so you just like a mile outside of Cook City is where you come out. Well,
Oh,
you can go
whoa.
you can go either way.
That's a cruise, hey.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, and you like basically get up to like 10,000 feet, and we did that in the middle of July, and got up there, and I didn't think it was going to be quite that bad. But we get up there, and like the lake's frozen.
Oh no.
There's 10 feet of snow, so we're post holing it through there, and
Oh, that's so much work.
it's just
dude.
like and after like 6-7 hours of the post hole in it, I'm like, we're both getting pretty frustrated and tired, and I'm like, well, this is gonna be whether our marriage makes it or not.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna find out here in the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so, but we made it. It was actually kind of fun.
Oh, that's
So,
cool, man. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes it better. Like, like you kind of mentioned something about like your wife being adventurous and as much, and us being landlocked Montanans, just not as
Yeah.
exposed to it. But I think that's important. I mean, I don't know other folks. I don't know. I don't be giving away like relationship advice. I'm no expert, but I feel like my wife kind of does the same thing though. Like you get like compliment each other, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you go through hard things together. And I think going on adventures is a big thing to see how compatible you really are. Because when things are rough, like you're post holing through the top of a
Yeah.
mountain, like
Yeah,
how do you do together at that point? Like
for sure. And kids are like super challenging. And if you don't have those skills there already, man, oh man, like I did not realize that the first, my first marriage, right, was like I did not realize that we had like a kid, and I was like, oh, we're way off on this. Like, this is not gonna work.
yeah,
And
That happens all the time, though.
Yeah, no, it sucked, and I was just like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this is not working. So
Yeah.
it's brutal. So I mean, those skills are so important.
yeah, totally, man. I guess I don't know if my parents were divorced, so I think that's probably part of the reason why I was such a slow mover. But Man, me and my wife dated for a long time.
Oh yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
like,
I
and
bet.
went and did everything together, and I wasn't really. I just wasn't in a rush. You know, I wasn't like thinking. I wasn't scared of it. I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't. You know, I didn't really see the point in it really. As you know, like back in the days, tradition marriage was like the thing. Before you
Yeah.
even live together, you get married and stuff. And like for me, I was more like I just like doing what we're doing. You know,
Yeah.
and then it kind of just kept growing, and then made a family and kids and stuff. But
Yeah. I think that's a like smart way to do it. Like I wish, my parents didn't get along very well. They never got divorced, but just to maybe not a great example of like marriage.
yeah,
So, but like but my mom died when I was 21 from cancer,
brutal,
but,
man.
like right at the end there, they kind of like reconnected. And so like, I came back from college and I'm just like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
And they're not arguing and they're like being all friendly and nice to each other and they're like holding hands and I'm like, what in the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
I've been gone for 6 months. What is going on here? This is not the like uptight, like violent place that I'm used to.
What are you two doing?
Yeah.
Why are you being nice to
So,
each other?
and you're just like, it's like, oh, okay, you guys actually do like each other. So, and maybe I was the problem. I left and you guys got to know each other.
Yeah, like all right, now it's just us.
So,
Yeah, it's complicated, man. I don't. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't really want to like give too much advice because I don't really know if there's a real true answer. But I think
dude.
that seems to work. Seems to help, I guess.
Yeah, and I think everybody's like kind of pathway into that is, different.
Yeah.
And some people, they just get along and it works, and some people got to really struggle and make it work, and it's just the way it goes. And our jobs are not conducive to, like a pretty normal household, and
No.
it's kind of funny because, as a fireman, like I'm with my kids so much. Like I'm their like primary caregiver, and especially when they were younger, and it's just like I get that experience, and I think that's probably like my favorite thing about being a fireman is like my dad was a phone lineman, so I mean he worked every single day,
Yeah.
and so like I never got that like every day. My dad never really like parented me, like day and day and day, and
Yeah.
kind of cool that you get to do that.
Very
It's-
cool, man.
Yeah, you get to have that like relationship with your kids, and
Yeah. Absolutely.
so I love it.
Yeah.
Nice. How are we looking?
I think I don't know what's going on. My phone's buzzing. My watch is buzzing.
Oh,
Man, that's probably a good place to end her. I mean, I know you
Okay.
probably dive in more into adventure stuff, but I don't want to leave my
well,
wife hanging.
Okay, sounds good, man. It was great. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I appreciate it, dude.
We can always do another one.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
Like usually, like if leaving stuff on the table, I like to ask folks if they want to come back for another round because,
Yeah, for sure.
man, yeah, like and next time I'll have the heat on.
Yeah, we should get some other people in here too, and
Yeah,
I don't know. We should come up with some sort of thing to talk about.
yeah, that'd be super
Be kinda
cool, man.
fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out how to get like, I mean, you can fit quite a few people here, and then on both sides, and then even one day like even using that bench over there maybe, and just getting the GoPro mounted up and just doing like a round robin. I'd be game for whatever, man. So if you come up with something like, let me know and we'll do it, man.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of fun to just get some guys together and maybe like talk about some like fundraising stuff or some sort of like project we could do and like kind of brainstorm. And
Dude, absolutely, man. Yeah, because like, and that's what I kind of was thinking earlier, and I meant to mention was like the fire and ice is cool, but it's only one time a year, so it'd be nice to do more. Like
yeah,
get that. I think that cross pollination with the old wild land and structure folks, man. I think that really helps. you know?
no, it's cool. I love it.
Yeah,
So,
it builds a community, right?
yeah, for sure. We've got such a great group of guys and gals here. I mean, it is so awesome.
Yeah,
And
man.
like I said, if you don't think you're part of the community, you're probably part of the problem.
Yeah,
So
totally, yeah.
yeah. So
And usually those folks are just so set and like tunnel vision
Yeah.
on what they don't like that they're missing what's good.
yeah. No, and the people are like, I don't know, and sometimes when you get out of work, I found this with a lot of guys, like, at work, I want to strangle them, but then we play hockey together and I'm like, you're actually like a decent human being.
Right? Yeah.
You're like, all right.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not quite as bad as I thought.
Totally,
So,
man. Yeah, and that's another thing about Missoula having that hockey, the beer league here, man. It's I think that's a real good, like you said, bridge of personalities. Because,
yeah.
like you said, on the street, like just the way the personalities clash. Like, I've had it where it's like, man, I don't know if we'd be friends, but then you get on a hockey team together, and you're like, I like you, and I think you like me, you know?
Yeah. No, I've just had some like great friendships come from hockey. It's been great.
Yeah, it's super cool, and I think because I'm bad at it, it really helps because I go in there with like zero ego. Like I'm horrible. I'm just giving you guys a heads up, and
yeah, no, I'm just trying not to get injured.
yeah, that's what, and that is most of it now, you know.
Yeah, that first couple on the tailbone, you're just like, okay, I can't fall like that again, or I'm gonna piss my pants.
Yeah, exactly. When I was younger, I'd send myself on the boards, you know, trying to like get the puck or whatever, and now I don't do that anymore.
No. Yeah. No, I like stabbed myself a couple times getting my stick, between the boards.
Yeah.
Just like, that really hurts.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, I got lucky and mine broke just off the blade, but
Okay.
it was enough to hurt though before it broke.
No, I thought I killed myself.
That's what it felt like, man. I was like, I think I was going for the liver. I can't remember, but
well, all right.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, you bet, Luke.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Oh yeah, thanks.